What's up everybody, and welcome to this quite unique video. So today I'm gonna play Skyrim, and I'm gonna walk from here all the way until Riften, while at the same time sharing some of my philosophy with you guys. So what I'm gonna talk about today is why you should be like water, why you should be fluid. And I would say let's just begin walking and let's begin talking too. So the things I'm gonna talk about today is mainly three things. First of all, I'm gonna talk about Paul Atreides from Dune. And the reason why I'm gonna talk about Paul Atreides in a Skyrim video is because the way he solves problems inside the books and the movies is quite smart, and you can learn a lot about how he solves issues and apply this in your own real life. And we're gonna analyze a lot of the things he does in the books and in the movies, and I'm gonna explain why these things are smart and why you should also act like that. Then the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna look at chess, because I also play chess occasionally, and a lot of the things that make a player a good chess player and what makes a bad chess player, also a lot of things that apply in the real world. So if you manage to become a good chess player, you also become a good, basically, player in real life.
I've been looking for you. Looks like that's it. Got to go.
Then the next thing we're gonna talk about is how does all of this apply in Skyrim and how does it apply in real life. And here I actually ask before the...
You there. The Dawn Guard. We're vampire hunters. We search out.
And here I actually ask, before making the video, I asked the AI what the AI's recommendation is for the best Skyrim playthrough. And what the AI told me is quite surprising. I think it's at the same time smart, but also at the same time stupid. And I'm gonna explain this logic later on. But let's start with Paul Atreides. So what has Paul Atreides to do with being water, with being fluid? Well, first of all, I don't really like the character of Paul Atreides too much. I think later on in, for example, Children of Dune, a lot of like bad things gonna happen to him, and in my opinion he kind of looks like an idiot. But I quite liked him during his ascension, from basically just being like a rebel to becoming emperor. And I think in this period he's quite smart and he does a lot of things right, and I'm gonna explain what he does right. So the first thing you're gonna notice is like from the Paul Atreides, who like drinks the water of life and can like see the future, what you can learn is this guy is very fluid. This guy is not one person, he does not have one character, but he's kind of like everything at the same time. So what do I mean by that? Every time Paul Atreides like talks with the Fremen, he uses the Fremen language, and he like kind of plays into the role of this like savior, this messiah, and everything they want to hear he says. But when he talks, for example, to Gurney, he uses a different language, and he talks in English, and he presents himself as like the Duke of the House Atreides, and he uses a complete different language and mannerisms when speaking to him. And when he then talks to his girlfriend, I forgot her name, he uses a completely different language. He's like more soft and more loving and more gentle, and he's no longer that messiah figure at all. So you can see like Paul Atreides changes quite a lot depending on who he speaks to. He's quite fluid, and he's not like one character, like for example, let's say Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel, in every role he plays, he's always kind of like the same character, like this strong, tough guy, and he doesn't really change. And Paul Atreides is quite different because he changes depending on who he speaks to, and he's quite fluid that way. Another thing I want to talk about is the fight with Fate at the end. If you don't know who Fate is, it's in the movie the bald guy, the Harkonnen bald guy. And in the books, basically the fight is quite simple and over very quickly. But in the movies, it's a bit more extended for trauma, of course. But I quite like the movie fight. And what I think is smart is like there are two moments that I quite like. And the first moment is where basically Fate tries to wait. So the first thing that I like about the fight is basically where Fate tries to trick him. Basically he talks about his girlfriend in a like demeaning manner, and he tries to like bait emotional response. He basically tries to rage bait him, and he doesn't fall for it. And the reason why is because Paul Atreides is like not a character that has like emotion or honor or anything like that, because at this moment he can see the future, and he became kind of like a person that is only logical, only like designed for his goal, and he knows he's just being rage baited right now, and he doesn't engage in it because it's stupid. And then the second thing is like he gets stabbed, and he kind of pretends almost to be dead, almost like see his end already. And you can see this in the movie. He like breathes like very heavily, and he looks to Fate like he's injured and he cannot fight any longer, and he looks at him with his like eyes of desperation. And what he's doing, he's just basically playing vulnerable. He plays weak, so basically he baits Fate into attacking as a strategy. And I think that's also very clever. And you can see that in Dune, Paul Atreides is very fluid. He doesn't care about being seen as weak or anything like that. He has no real image that he tries to uphold. He just is whatever the situation requires, and I think that's quite smart. Then let's talk about chess next. So I play chess, and what I learned from chess is that in chess, if you're a good chess player, you are kind of like Paul Atreides. Like, imagine if you play chess and you're very emotional and you're easily rage baited, and you also try to uphold a certain image of like, oh, I'm this tough guy. You're gonna lose every single time. Because in chess, there are some times where you have to attack, there are some times where you have to defend, and there are some times where you have to like look weak to bait your enemy, or there's also sometimes where your enemy baits you and you have to like have the control to not fall for it. And I think all these things are very important, and you can see how a lot of chess players are exactly like Paul Atreides. They're very fluid, they don't really have an image or a character, they don't really define themselves by anything. Because what happens in chess is basically you only have two things. You have a clear defined goal, and you have logic. And logic gets you to this goal. And I think the main difference between a good chess player and a bad chess player is basically that the bad chess player, like, he knows that he has to like check the king, right? But this goal kind of like moves into the background, and he does not really think about it, and he just like moves his figures forward without thinking. The good chess player knows his goal and knows that the main goal of chess is basically checking the king, right? So all he does is like have this goal in mind and do everything for this goal. I think the guy wants to fight. Ah, we're in trouble, right? Okay, I died. I think we have to do everything one more time. But that's okay. That video is mostly just for talking, right? Okay, let's go one more time. So, what I was trying to say is basically, like, in chess, what it makes a bad player is that the bad player doesn't really know the main goal, And because he doesn't really know the main goal, he basically cannot apply logic. And a good player, he knows the main goal and he just logics out how to get to this main goal. And this is what is called strategy. And Paul Atreides basically does the same thing. He knows exactly what he wants and he can see the future and he knows exactly what he has to do to get to this goal. And that's why he's so clever. And the chess player does the same thing. He knows exactly the type of future he wants, where he checks the king, and he basically just plans out the moves to get toward this goal. And then the last thing I want to talk about is how does this connect to Skyrim. Basically, at the beginning I already told you, I asked the AI for the best strategy for Skyrim. Oh, not this guy again.
I've been looking for you. Let's... looks like that's it. Got to go.
And I asked the AI what, in their opinion, is the best strategy.
You there. The Dawn Guard is looking for anyone willing to fight
And
against growing
I
vampire
asked
menace.
two things.
What do you say?
The first thing I asked the AI was, should I have like a fluid personality while playing Skyrim? Basically be anybody? Or should I have a solid personality? Basically be that Vin Diesel that is always cool. And then the second question I asked the AI is like, should I have a solid character? Basically a body that never changes? Or should I have like a fluid body? Basically open the console as much as possible and then change my body depending on what I want, or depending on which faction I play. Like for example, let's say become a different race in the Mages Guild and become a different race in the Dark Brotherhood. And this is just a question that I asked the AI because I'm kind of curious myself, and the answer quite surprised me, because what the AI first of all said was it's smarter to be fluid in both ways. It's smart to be fluid in personality and in body. And then I argued with the AI and I said, well, what about identity?
All right, hand over your valuables, or I'll gut you like a fish. What a coward. Didn't even put up a proper fight.
What? Oh my god. What am I doing?
Need something.
You know, the best strategy in Skyrim is cheating. But it didn't work. But whatever. I think you can actually sneak up on them and steal their gold back. But my level right now is very low. I just basically opened the Skyrim game just for the video. So what were we talking about? We were talking about like the AI, and I asked the AI these two questions, and the AI responded with basically saying that being fluid in both personality and body is better. But then I argumented back to the AI with some counter arguments, and I basically told it that what about identity? Identity is also important, right? Well, because like here in Skyrim, everything basically boils down to like a self-love increase. Like you have this character that you decide at the beginning, and you level up this character, you get better armors, more spells, more like skills. Everything like boils down to creating an identity at the beginning and then leveling up this identity, right? So identity is also important in Skyrim. So the AI completely switched its approach, and now it basically told me like, hey, actually being solid in both personality and body is better. And then I was like bringing up the same arguments I made before, like how this is not really strategic. Sorry, I am not really fluent in English. It's not really like smart to do this. And then the AI like again switched its approach and told me to be like fluid again. And by now you can kind of like see what the AI is trying to do. It's basically like doing the same thing we talked about before. It's just being fluid. Do I have to fight these guys now too? No, I think it's safe. And basically all the things we talked about before, the AI basically does. Because the AI has the goal of basically just making the user happy. And it does everything for this goal. So of course it's gonna like first give me an answer I want to hear. Then if I argue back, it's gonna give me again an answer I want to hear. And then if I argue back again, it's again gonna give me something I want to hear. So you kind of can understand my point I'm trying to make. Is like the AI answer is smart and stupid at the same time because it uses the same logic we spoke before. It just basically tells you what you want to hear. And this is good for the AI because it makes the user happy, but it's bad for me because I just want to argue philosophy and I cannot do that with the AI because the AI just tells me basically what I want to hear, right? And so what is my own opinion on this? I thought a little bit about it, and I think the best strategy for Skyrim is basically have a solid body and a fluid mind. And what does that mean is basically like you make a character at the beginning, and then you never change this character. Like you never open the console or try to change it in any way, because this character, this body, and it's really only a body, forms your identity. And then the character should be completely fluid. Like you should not define yourself as someone like, oh, I'm the mage who only like who lives by high morals and tries to be like a pacifist or something like that. And the reason why it's stupid is because as a mage you cannot do the companion's quest, and as a pacifist you cannot join like the Dark Brotherhood, and you're only like handicapping yourself before you even started the game, right? So my opinion is be kind of like Paul Atreides and be very fluid, be like water. So what that means is basically like have a solid body and have a fluid mind, fluid personality. And in real life you can do the same, and the way you can do it is basically by having one appearance that never changes, like you haircut, whatever. You can also like, you shouldn't basically change, not again.
Weren't expecting that, were you?
Wait, I do have some shouts actually. Fire breath. No! Oh my god. Is the Dark Brotherhood? Who have I killed? Oh, that does not really matter. Maybe because I killed the thief? I don't know. But let's continue with the talking points. What I'm trying to say in real life, how you can do this, is basically try to build an appearance and never change this appearance because to make it iconic. And I think a lot of actors do that. Like for example, Vin Diesel would never like get a toupee or hair transplant because kind of like his baldness became iconic, right? And I think we have to go here. And because his baldness became iconic, he doesn't want to change his appearance. But he should change his like personality. Why? Because he's an actor. And if he says to himself, no, I'm only a tough guy, I only do this, then he's kind of like handicapping himself, right? So it's smarter, especially for an actor, to basically be able to do any role and basically be any person at any time. And that's basically my strategy. Let's see if this works. Nice. I'm a very low level and I installed some mods that made my Skyrim kinda like way too hard. But I don't even think that cheating is such a bad strategy. Like, this whole game is just for fun, right? And if it's too hard, it becomes no longer fun and you forget to autosave and you have to do everything again. Why not cheat a little bit, right? But it's just my own opinion. So I hope you understand what I was trying to say. It's basically like, be solid in your appearance, but be very fluid in your personality, because this is what Call Atreides does. This is what like a lot of good chess players do, and this is what you also should do in real life if you want to have a successful life, in my opinion. What is he doing? Old orc. And that's basically the video. Let me know what you think. We haven't made it to Riften because I died once, but I hope you still enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I see you in the next video. Bye.